Welcome back to Chapter 2 of my Fire Emblem Engage LTC run. Chapter 2 is a two-phase map where we have to defeat the boss on each phase. This is the first chapter that deviates from my older run in terms of strategy. As part of the revised early game, some kills will be distributed to Clanne in order to meet a short-term speed benchmark. He must gain 1 level by the end of next chapter. This archer will always target Fram for the most damage, and sometimes they block our path. Instead of killing Alear on player phase, Alear will low-star rush this archer, and then kill Alear on enemy phase for maximal XP gain. She also ends in a spot where she can provide Clanne her personal skill, which adds just enough damage to make the AP kill possible. Alear's personal skill is one of the most important skills in the game, and this is the first of many situations where it makes the difference. After she gets the kill, the map transitions to a second phase, and all our units change position. Alear is programmed to always target Alear on enemy phase, so we're not worried about Fram getting killed despite her low HP. She ends turn 2 in the position that Clanne is supposed to move to in the phase transition. So by some possibly unintended behavior, the game decides to bump up Clanne's position by 1 going into phase 2. This is intentional on our part, as it allows Clanne to bait Alear into attacking us this turn. There's essentially an invisible horizontal line right below the statue that artificially determines her aggro range. Alear will not attack until a unit is above this line, so Clanne needs the extra movement bump to reach this point. Another notable part of this chapter is that it introduces the break mechanic. In essence, attacking an enemy with a weapon triangle advantage causes them to drop their weapon through the next round of combat. We use this here by having Alear break the Axe Fighter, such that Vander can safely chip him without taking counter damage. Unlike in the first phase, Alear just targets whoever she can deal the most damage to, which is now Vander because she has a Rider's Bane. This is good because Vander can deal the most counter damage to her on enemy phase. Vander then actually suicides into Alear in order to feed the kill to Alear on enemy phase. He can't actually die in this chapter, so it doesn't matter. It's also honestly not super consistent who she prioritizes on turn 4, so taking Vander out reduces some possible variance in her AI. Alear once again goes for the best expected damage. She should be able to break Alear with a Rider's Bane, but she decides to use the Liberation Sword instead, mostly due to its better accuracy. Either way though, Alear is protected by a chain guard, so she can safely take a hit and counter kill her to end the map. That concludes Chapter 2 in 4 turns. Moving on to Chapter 3. To start this map, we'll have Clanne chipped on one of the sword fighters and have Alear wait in the center column, in range of 3 infantry enemies. Alear is technically able to reach the middle sword fighter and attack him on player phase. However, we're expecting reinforcements to show up on our side next turn, and her current position will leave the enemies in their attack range. It also allows her to gain some extra avoid from Fram's personal skill. Thanks to Clanne's chip damage, Alear is able to kill a right sword fighter on enemy phase. Then the soldier breaks her. Ideally she actually dodges this for 4 XP, but that's not important enough to rig this action. Vander baits 2 Pegasus Knights on the right hand side. The Pegasus Knight's random movement sometimes causes one to prevent the other from attacking Vander, but that doesn't matter in this case. After an obnoxiously long cutscene, we get 3 new units to help out. Etier will kill both Pegasus Knights that Vander baited, while Bushrun will break, but not kill, the soldier. Thanks to Alear's position on turn 1, Bushrun is able to reach them. Meanwhile, Alear and Vander move up to bait the remaining enemies. Fram provides Alear with a chain guard. We expect that Alear will be attacked by a lance fighter first on enemy phase, and Fram's chain guard will prevent her from being broken by that attack. We want the soldier alive at the end of player phase in order to bait the javelin flyer into attacking Bushrun instead of Alear. Enemies have a tendency to decide their targets at the start of enemy phase, so even though the soldier dies on counter, the Pegasus Knight presumably sees a chain attack opportunity on Bushrun. This other Pegasus Knight will attack Alear instead, but she is protected by a chain guard. After that she is attacked by 2 Myrmidons, both of which are pretty weak, and she recovers some of the damage with Divine Speed. Vander will bait 2 more flyers on the right side, but this time he actually really needs to hit both of them, and his hit rates aren't perfect. Lastly, Etier just has to survive against a flyer on the bottom right. So on turn 3, Alear and Vander are going to retreat in order to avoid being overwhelmed. Meanwhile, Bushrun, Clanne, and Etier will take out flyers in the back. It's worth noting that if this flyer attacked from 2 tiles left, that would actually be a reset.
I'll do my best.
We want them to be in a position where Clanne can benefit from Bushron's chain attack and Alear's personal skill at the same time to get the kill. So either diagonally up left or 2-up would work. On the right, Alfred will take over Vander's duty of countering the Pegasus Knights because he has a slightly better hit rate. Frem will also heal this turn in order to regain the ability to chain guard. Alear faces the same enemies on enemy phase, but this time she is not protected by chain guard. The Myrmidons also attack her first this time, and their health is too low to heal off of them with Divine Speed. On top of that, she faces an extra enemy compared to last turn, so she has to survive 4 rounds of combat. So in summary, she really wants to dodge this first Pegasus Knight and kill them on counter. Frem's personal skill definitely helps here, as it lowers the enemy's hit rate to 55, which is still pretty sketchy. Dodging the second Pegasus Knight is not necessary, but she does it anyway. If she didn't, then Bushron would chip them down next turn. The last turn is basically just cleanup. Clanne needs to hit level 2 in this map, and he does the most damage to the boss. Therefore he will get the boss skill with the help of some chip damage from Vander. The boss is an Armor Knight, and has the skill Veteran Plus, rendering her immune to effective damage, such as from Marth's Rapier. Almost every boss in the game has this skill, presumably to mitigate cheese strategies, since it also prohibits breaks against them. Clanne only earns 1 point of speed from this level up, but that's all he needs for the next chapter.
Here until the end.
Alear can nab 2 more kills here as well, taking the Archer on player phase and the remaining Flyer on enemy phase while being protected by Chain Guard. The Flyer still has Break Flag active, so they will try to attack her on enemy phase. The only other target they may prioritize is Edge, since she is at risk of dying, but we can just move her out of the way. The remaining Flyer suicides into Alear and the map is cleared in 4 turns.